Hello and welcome to Global Issues and Answers. My name is Grace Aaron. I'm your host today, and this is May 23rd, 2006. So if you're watching this in 2009, you'll know that if we say things that don't sound really right, it's because it was taped on May 23rd, 2006. And my special guest is Aida Thomas. She's a very good friend of mine. We're both ex-members of the Church of Scientology. We still consider ourselves Scientologists, at least partially Scientologists, even though we don't agree with the current regime that's running the most formal part of the religion, or the most well-known part of the religion. This is so confusing. Aida, why don't you explain this?
Well, you know that Scientology has many groups and many organizations all over the world. Mm-hmm. But the moment that somebody disagrees with the current management, they get expelled. Mm-hmm. So now, as a result of that, many groups have sprouted all over the world. There's some groups in Canada practicing Scientology that is not under the blessings of the church. There's many groups here all over the United States, in Greece, Spain, Australia, New Zealand, Japan even.
And what is this? There is one, you belong to an umbrella group that kind of loosely communicates. It's like a network. And what is it called?
Yes. First of all, there's what is called the Freezone, and this is all the Scientologists that practice whatever they consider is that they want to practice. But we are one particular group that is called the International Freezone Association, and we adhere ourselves to the rules and to the technology as it was developed by L. Ron Hubbard without the slightest change or alteration. And now, thanks to the internet, we can be connected, all of us, with each other, and within seconds. Like, for example, the executive director of our organization, Michael Moore, lives in Canada.
Australia. Right?
And then the persons in charge of the qualifications division, per se, or the technology, they live in Canada. I live in Los Angeles, some people live in the United Kingdom, and so on, and we are what you would say an electronic organization.
Mm-hmm. And Aida is a very highly trained Scientologist. She's a Class 8 auditor, counselor, and it took her many years to get to that level in Scientology. Is that correct?
Yes, I came 25 years ago from Mexico to train as a professional counselor in the technology of Scientology, and I got as high as to what would be the equivalent of, what would you say in the United States, doctor degree or master's degree.
Like a PhD, and it takes a long time.
Yes, because you have to do internships just like you do in any, like, College of Medicine.
Yes, it's a serious subject.
Oh yes, you have to be a very professional because people's lives are in your hands.
So when you train, when you spend tens of thousands of dollars to get this training, and years of your life in the process, and your income is dependent upon your status in the Church of Scientology to some degree,
right?
It's really bad when you get kicked out. I mean, it kind of collapses your whole life.
Right.
Go ahead.
Yes? No, you were going to ask me.
And it happens to a lot of dedicated Scientologists, that practicing Scientologists, that they get kicked out for no good reason usually.
Right. In the last 15 or 20 years, hundreds of thousands of Scientologists have been kicked out. Many in the last 10 years left on their own because they...
I don't know hundreds of thousands, Aida, because I don't think there are hundreds of thousands of Scientologists during that point.
But many Scientologists have been kicked out, and many of them left on their own because they were very fed up with the regime. And as a result of that, they are now practicing Scientology outside the auspices of the Church of Scientology. But they don't like that, so therefore, when you start practicing the freedom of religion and trying to practice your own religion, the church considers you a suppressive person, a criminal.
That's what it's called. It's called officially, when you're kicked out and they really don't like you, they call you a suppressive person.
That's correct.
Meaning an evil person.
Right.
An antisocial personality. That's what it denotes.
It will be like the how did you say?
Heretic?
The heretic in the Catholic Church, and
Yes.
then you get ostracized by your friends, by your family, by your associates. So now a big Scientology movement is being created outside the Church of Scientology, like I said, all over the world.
Yeah, I know two women. To give you an example, one woman, Patty Brain, was expelled because she was so horrified by the way that children were treated in one particular Scientology organization. This is about 20 or 25 years ago, and she was trying to get it rectified internally within the organization, but was not successful. So she went to the media about it. Because to her, the children's lives and well-being were more important than, than the feelings of the adults in the church. Right. So she went to the press and she got kicked out, and one of her children has not spoken to her in many, many, many years because of that. Another example, a similar one, is another friend of mine, completely disrelated to Patty, also objected to the poor treatment of children in the Sea Organization. And she also got expelled from the church. And, the church made a whole story about what her intentions were. They said that she and her sisters had joined the Sea Organization with the intention all along to steal the upper-level information and to get copies of it and to take it outside of the church and to practice outside the church. And that was not what happened at all. So the church makes these... I'm just giving two examples of people who did really the right thing and were kicked out of the church for doing it.
Right. Well, L. Ron Hubbard wrote what is called the Creed of Scientology.
Yes.
And one of the points is the freedom of speech.
Yes.
And the other point is the freedom of religion. Yet when you want to practice your freedom of speech and say exactly what you think, you get in trouble.
Right.
So there is no such thing as freedom of speech inside the Church of Scientology. There is no such thing as freedom of religion.
Currently, because, when I got into Scientology in the 1970s, we had total freedom of speech.
Yes, I was going to say that. I remember that there used to be that thing, remember, the rabble rouse, and you could just write whatever you want, yes. And if you didn't like it, you could even write it and send it directly to L. Ron Hubbard, and then somebody would come and take care of it with you and make, things go right if there was something you didn't like.
And as you all can see, Aida and I are very outspoken. And we've been outspoken our whole lives.
That's right.
And we never got into trouble inside Scientology, even though we were very outspoken, until recently. The regime, I'm sure that some people were kicked out unjustly from the church in the past, but now it's gotten to any kind of small criticism of Scientology management.
Yeah, particularly in the last 8-10 years, it is impossible to say anything. Ron says that some criticism is merited, and
yes.
It is good so that you can improve the situation. But now any criticism, they consider it like inside the church is called natter, which means carping criticism in an effort to destroy the target that you are criticizing. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But now they call everything natter, everything to them, the slightest thing is carping criticism and is destructive. So you can no longer practice your freedom of speech at all, unless it's to say good things.